Have you ever opened Netflix, stared at hundreds of new shows, and then calmly clicked on the same old series you've already watched 5 times? Yeah, the one where you already know every joke, every plot twist, every dramatic speech, and somehow it still feels amazing. If you've ever wondered, why do I keep rewatching the same show when there's so much new stuff out there? Don't worry, you're not weird, you're not boring, and you're definitely not alone. There are two types of people in this world: the what's new people and the play it again people. The first group gets excited by fresh releases, new plots, new characters, new drama. The second group, they see a new show and think, risky. Then they go straight back to their comfort series like it's a warm blanket waiting on the couch. So, what's really going on here? First, let's talk about comfort. Life is unpredictable. School, work, relationships, news, bills, it's a lot. Every day we deal with surprises, decisions, and tiny stresses we don't even notice building up. When you rewatch a familiar show, your brain relaxes. Why? Because you already know what's going to happen. There's no uncertainty, no anxiety about the ending, no stress about whether your favorite character survives. Your brain basically says, "Oh, I've been here before. We're safe." It's like rereading your favorite childhood book or ordering the same meal at your favorite restaurant because you know it won't disappoint. Rewatching is emotional safety. And here's the interesting part: your brain loves predictability more than you think. We usually believe humans crave novelty, and yes, we do, but only when we feel secure. When life feels chaotic, we lean toward what's familiar. That's why during stressful times, exams, breakups, busy work weeks, people suddenly restart their comfort shows. It's not laziness, it's self-soothing. Think about it like this. Imagine coming home after a long, exhausting day. You're mentally drained. Now you have two options. Option A: start a brand new, intense drama with complicated characters and unexpected twists. Option B: watch an episode of that sitcom you've seen 12 times where you can literally say the lines before the characters do. Which one sounds easier on your brain? Exactly. Now let's talk about something even deeper. Rewatching isn't just about comfort, it's about control. When you watch something new, you don't know what's coming. That lack of control can create tiny stress signals in your brain, even if it's just a fictional story. But when you rewatch something, you control the emotional journey. You know when the sad scene is coming. You know when the funny part happens. You know when to grab tissues. It's predictable, safe, controlled. And in a world where we can't control much, that feels good. Here's something funny. Have you noticed how people say, "I'm just putting this on as background noise," but then they end up watching it anyway? That's another psychological trick. Familiar shows don't demand your full attention. You already know the story, so your brain doesn't have to work hard to process new information. It's like mental comfort food. You can fold laundry, scroll your phone, do homework, and still feel entertained without pressure. New shows require energy. Old shows feel effortless. And now let's get to the emotional attachment part. When you rewatch a show, you're not just watching episodes, you're revisiting a time in your life. Maybe you first watched that series during high school, or during lockdown, or during a specific relationship. When you replay it, you're not only seeing the characters, you're reconnecting with your past self. It's like emotional time travel. That intro song, it doesn't just remind you of the show, it reminds you of who you were when you first heard it. That's powerful. Humans are nostalgic creatures. We don't just love stories, we love memories attached to stories. And here's something else that might surprise you. People who rewatch shows often score higher in emotional intelligence. Why? Because rewatching allows you to notice details you missed before. Small facial expressions, subtle character development, hidden jokes. The first time you watch something, you focus on what happens. The second time, you notice why it happens. You understand characters more deeply. You catch the growth. You see the patterns. It's like reading between the lines. Also, let's not ignore this. Sometimes we rewatch because we're not ready to let go. Finishing a great show feels like saying goodbye to friends. And not all of us are good at goodbyes. So instead of moving on, we start again. Episode 1.
Back to the beginning. And honestly, that's kind of beautiful. Now here's a light, real-life example. You know that friend who claims they're exploring new genres, but somehow always ends up back at the same sitcom? They'll say, "This time I'm watching a thriller." 2 days later, "Okay, but I just needed one episode of my comfort show." One episode turns into 3. 3 turns into, "How am I already at season 5 again?" We laugh about it, but psychologically, it makes perfect sense. Your brain associates that show with positive emotions, laughter, relaxation, safety. So when you feel even slightly stressed or bored, your brain goes, "Oh, I know something that makes us feel good." And boom, rewatch. There's also a personality angle here. People who rewatch often value depth over novelty. They'd rather fully understand something meaningful than constantly chase the next new thing. They're not easily distracted by trends. They appreciate familiarity. And interestingly, studies suggest that anxious individuals are more likely to rewatch familiar content. Again, not because they're boring, but because it reduces uncertainty. Predictable storylines lower mental tension. Your brain literally calms down. So the next time someone teases you for rewatching the same show for the 10th time, just smile and say, "I'm regulating my nervous system." That'll confuse them. But here's the twist. Rewatching doesn't mean you're stuck. It means you found something that resonates with you deeply enough to return to it. We rewatch shows for the same reason we replay songs, because they hit something inside us. And every time we go back, we experience them slightly differently, because we've changed. You're not the same person you were during your first watch. So even though the show is the same, your perspective isn't. And that's what makes it interesting. Now here's a question for you. Is there a show you could watch forever and never get tired of? Think about why. Is it the humor, the characters, the world, the nostalgia, the sense of peace? Whatever it is, that says something about you. Our comfort shows reflect our emotional needs. Some people rewatch light comedies because they need laughter. Some rewatch fantasy because they crave escape. Some rewatch crime dramas because they enjoy structure and resolution. The patterns aren't random. They're psychological fingerprints. And maybe, just maybe, rewatching isn't about avoiding new stories. Maybe it's about honoring the ones that helped us through something. The show that kept you company when you felt lonely. The series that made you laugh when you didn't feel like smiling. The characters who felt like friends when real life felt overwhelming. That's not repetitive. That's meaningful. So next time you find yourself hovering over the play again button, don't judge yourself. Understand yourself. Because sometimes the mind doesn't want something new. It wants something known. And in a world full of uncertainty, familiar stories are tiny anchors. Comfort, control, nostalgia, emotional connection. That's the psychology of people who rewatch the same shows. And honestly, it might just be one of the healthiest habits we secretly have. Now tell me, what's the one show you always go back to? Be honest. I promise I won't judge.
unless it's the 15th rewatch this month. Okay, fine. I still won't judge.